Greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's a Victory Monday. It was a beatdown of epic proportions yesterday. A whole lot of people in the Detroit Lions fan base walked into yesterday's game and said, hey, maybe this is a season of doubt for the Detroit Lions. Maybe after that loss to Green Bay Packers, things have gone south for this team. MCDC doesn't know how to coach. John Morton, he needs to get out of here. Kelvin Shepard needs to be shown the door. All those kind of things were floating around the Lions fan base. And then yesterday happened. Hey, we've got some stuff for you guys real quick. Lions games with 50 points since 2024-3. The rest of the Detroit Lions history, you know what? It's happened 3 times. There ain't been many teams in the NFL that put up 50 burgers, let alone do it at the pace the Detroit Lions are. And let's be honest, if you were watching that game yesterday, Lions had, they had every opportunity. If they want to put up 60, maybe even 70 points, they could have. They could have made it look like a video game if they wanted to, even more than they already did. Lions, though, I think they needed that game a whole lot. I think everybody watching this would agree. Lions sent a message to the entire NFL. Week 1, yeah, maybe we could have done this a little different, that a little different. But if you're writing us off, not so fast. Let's go into some more further analytics. Lions dynamic duo, if you would, yesterday. Hey, Jared Goff had himself a day, 23 of 28. People saying he can't coach, can't play, can't perform without Sean McVay. Well, and then they said, well, he can't do it without Sean McVay or Ben Johnson. Well, they might now have to say, well, he can't do it without Sean McVay, Ben Johnson, or John Morton, because he put up 344 yards. Look at that average. Basically 12 yards an attempt / completion. 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. St. Brown, as you also see, had 11 targets, 9 receptions, 115 yards, and 3 scores. And then last, but let me throw one more graphic at you. For the first time in franchise history, the Lions have produced a game with 500-plus total yards, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, any questions about the Detroit Lions offense maybe got put to rest, at least to some degree yesterday. It's early in the season. A lot of things can shake and bake between now and the start of the playoffs. But what we do know this, in recent years, the Lions and the Bears, they've had a ton of real good close games. You guys probably remember, 2-3 years ago, we had the massive comeback against the Bears in order to win. I think we rallied from 17 points to win. Last year, you guys know, man, if it wasn't for some bad clock management, the Lions might not have won on Thanksgiving against the Bears. So these two teams, historically, recent years, have had some good competition. Yesterday, though, was not one of those days. All right, before we get to the 5 headlines now, before we get to our special guest today, Johnny Gaz is going to join us before we get to the main topic of the day. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 14,600 subs. If you can assist with that, we are about 95-ish subs away, so I would be very thankful. Also, if you have a half second of time, it won't cost you anything at all. Reach on over, up, down, wherever it is on your screen. Hit the thumbs up, the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. And one last thing, if I may be so kind, if you are looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the Michigan where I reside, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on your screen, 269-998. 2384. We'll have a conversation, see what I can do to use all my experience in 30 years to save you time, save you hassle, save you money. make the process fairly easy for you. Give me a call or shoot me a text and we'll go from there. All right, all that done out of the way. I'm sure you're all feeling a lot better about this team now than you were a week ago. Let's kick it off with 5 headlines now. All right. Not Dan O'Damas today. Sorry about that. 5 headlines now. Detroit Lions played statement football. Last word on sports. Story by Sue Levine. You know what? That was a statement. It was a statement. You guys all know it. We talked about it just momentarily ago. The NFL fan base, the NFL media, everybody was saying, man, the Lions have lost it. They can't do it without this coordinator, that coordinator. We talked all off season about it. In my humble opinion, it was overblown. Now that you watch the Green Bay Packers for 2 weeks, could it simply be the Packers at home with a loud environment, with a pretty dang good defense, simply caught the Lions not exactly ready for that first game? I think it can be true. We can analyze that game to death, how it might have been different, all those kind of things. Here's what we now do know. They're 2-0. We're 1-on-1. And in our game after them, we put a beat down like we may never see again on the Chicago Bears. If you listen to the post-game press conferences, not from the Detroit Lions, but from the Bears, that's as soundly a defeated team emotionally as you might be able to find. That beatdown was so complete. Ben Johnson, you could see him getting aggravated with reporters. And I do think the reporters, I get it's your job as a reporter, having been one, to produce content. That's how you stay employed. But they were asking him all sorts of odd questions. The one that stuck out to me is some knucklehead said, well, do you think the Lions were trying to run it up on you going forward on that 4th and 2 or 3 or whatever it was in the fourth quarter? Ben Johnson I'll give him praise for this. He had a great answer. He just said, what do you want him to do? You want him to kick a field goal? Fine, kick a field goal. But they've got the ball. They're going to try to score. This is what they do. I've been there. I've done that. I've been there with them. It's your job to stop them. He stood up for the Detroit Lions. The reporter, I didn't really care for so much. But what we can also say, not just the offense, but the defense played great. We talked about after the Green Bay game, I thought Brian Branch, he might not have been the best player on the field, but he was definitely in a short list of it, and he continued that yesterday. Whether or not we'll ever see the side angle view of that, blow to the head, was it really a blow to the head on Caleb Williams? I don't know. I know a bunch of you guys watching the live stream yesterday said it looked like he hit him in the shoulder pads, but given the fact the Lions were up 5,000 points, I think the officials might have been a little bit more, kind with the flag. Again, if we can see it from the angle where you can see where he's actually touching Caleb Williams, maybe it is a blow to the head. Maybe it's not. It's too bad for Terrion Arnold because he would have had his first pick. I think Brian Branch is about to have himself a monster season. That's my humble opinion. Other than that, we can say this offensive line looked a whole lot better last night than it did the week before. With that much young youth on the offensive line, I think it's going to get better and better throughout the year. There have been questions about Aiden Hutchinson. Will he be back to his former self? I don't think he's kind of got quite the same explosion he did at the start of last year. But you know what you could see yesterday? You guys have your opinion. I have my opinion. I thought he looked a little slow against Green Bay. He looked a little faster yesterday. And that makes sense. The more he's out on the field, the more he gets back into conditioning and back into football shape, he's probably going to look faster and faster. I thought once really got to about the halfway part of the second quarter, he started looking pretty good. And then definitely in the third quarter. Thankfully, he had a little bit of an injury scare, and that ended up being nothing. No official word on Davenport, who I also thought is sort of like Hutch. The longer the game went on, he played better. Sounds like he had in the locker room afterward, had ice bags on his shoulder. Maybe he popped the shoulder. I don't know. He must not have broken it. Otherwise, would have got word on that. I'm believing by now. But it sounds like he's more than likely going to be okay. I know a lot of people don't have a kind thought on Marcus Davenport because of his injury history, but it does sound like he's going to be okay. And he played himself a game yesterday. I was not disappointed with him at all. All right, Jared Goff joins exclusive group with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Len Dawson. Sporting News, Mike Moratis. If you didn't know, let me educate you. Jared Goff is one of very few quarterbacks who've had this many 5-touchdown games. Just an example, Matt Stafford, his career, has had 1. Jared Goff, with his time in Detroit Lions, has already had 3. Goff is doing things most quarterbacks simply during their careers just don't do. He's also thrown for his 5th 50-point game in his career, and that is tying him with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and everybody else that I listed. His completion percentage over 82% yesterday. I know in Green Bay, a lot of people said, man, yeah, he had a high completion percentage, but look at the yardage. There just wasn't anything there in the yards per attempt. Go wherever you want narrative-wise, the Green Bay Packers. It's week 1. They played great. We didn't play great. Here's what I'd say. The trend is your friend. You look what you did week 1. Did it get better to week 2? I think so. We're going to have an epic showing next week, Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if we're going to win. I think we're going to win, but I don't know it until we get to the final score. I think the Lions are going to be able to travel. They're going to do some good things. And you know what? This offense might just be able to carry us like last year. Defense isn't nearly as beat up. Maybe Goff is going to go on a historic pace. What we've seen the first 2 games is pretty dang good. Can it get better? Absolutely. Let's wait and see what JG is going to do this season. All right. Next to the 5 headlines now. 7 risers from Detroit's dominating win over Bears-Lions. SI.com. Emmett Matowski with this one. Man, you could probably have about 29 risers on the Detroit Lions teams, but we're going to limit it per this report to just 7. We already talked about this guy a little bit. Let's talk about him some more. Brian Branch. Some people talked about in the preseason trading this guy for this guy, that guy, add this to the team. You can't have 2 safeties get paid big money. I'm not so sure about that because you know what? Brian Branch, let me ask you, is he a cornerback? I think most of us would say yes. Is he a safety? Most of us would say yes. Is he a weak side linebacker? Most of us would say yes. Yesterday, he looked more like what we saw later in last year where he was a blitzer, going after the quarterback. Let's be honest, he probably should have had 2 sacks yesterday. Could have, busted up some plays. He is here. He's there. He's every flipping where on the field. And finding guys like him that can cover, that can hit, that can chase down, whatever you need a football defender to do, he does it. And I just think getting rid of him would be as damaging to this defense as if you got rid of, Aiden Hutchinson or something like that. I think Brian Branch is going to get paid. He's going to be a part of here. That hit he put on Swift to cause that fumble, perfectly timed. You know what? The only thing that he doesn't do is basically sell Mountain Dew in the stands, and I think he's going to be around for a long time. Right now, in my humble opinion, 2 games into the season, so it's way too early, he's an MVP front runner for the defensive side of the ball. I think he will be in the mix if he continues this up for Defensive Player of the Year. Kirby Joseph, hey, what does Kirby Joseph do? He finds the ball and he makes it mine, or his, I should say. He did that again yesterday. Caleb Williams probably made some boneheaded decisions. That's what quarterbacks do when you put them under pressure. You know what? Kirby Joseph seems to take advantage of a lot of those boneheaded decisions. Good for him. I thought his play overall was much better. Questions about the knee on Friday. Didn't see anything yesterday unless I missed it. But, apologies if I missed it. I'm around St. Brown. People were already talking after week 1 that maybe he was just a byproduct of this offense with Ben Johnson. Maybe he won't hold up in a regular offense. Whatever you want to say, man, he must have read some of that stuff. Because remember, this guy loves having a chip on his shoulder. You guys all remember the draft when he got passed over by 15 or 16 other wide receivers from other teams. So what's he do yesterday? You want to say you're going to doubt me? I'm going to put it on you. 3 touchdowns, 100 yards. Man, USC all the way, baby. Aiden Hutchinson, hey, is his career over? Is he ever going to be able to recover from that leg break? Here's what we do know. He pressured the quarterback regularly yesterday. And yes, sometimes on single coverage, a lot of times on double coverage or, blocking with chippers or whatever. All the greats are going to get that. It's unavoidable. It's a sign of respect if they put 2 people on you. But Hutch, he got a lot of pressures yesterday. He got a sack. Probably should have had a second sack, but you know what? I think the trend, again, is his friend. You've seen a little bit more conditioning, a little bit more of that burst. Maybe next week we see a little bit more. Jared Goff probably don't need to spend a ton of time on this one. The quarterback did not have an incompletion for the final 42 minutes and 6 seconds of the game, equating nearly 3 full quarters. People want to say he can only work with this kind of offense coordinator, that kind of offense coordinator. Well, now you got 3 of them, and I don't know how much more evidence you need. Last year, we all know it. He would have a game. He didn't throw an incompletion. A lot of different halves. He didn't throw an incompletion. What did he do again yesterday? 3 quarters with no incompletions, including that crazy catch by Isaac Tesla. Tyreek Williams, some people, I know after week 1, I try to go out there and say, and I know other people broke it down, do a far better job than I'll ever do analyzing the film with people viewing and saying, man, Tyreek Williams, he played great. And then everybody says, well, where's his stats? Some players, some stats, some positions don't simply have stats. And when you're playing great like Tyreek did yesterday, you really aren't going to get in the way of many stats because you know what? It's just not going to come your way. The more game tape I watch of this guy, I think the Lions, when we do a redraft or somebody redoes it, he's not going to be the 28th pick in last year's first round. He's probably going to be somewhere between 10 to 15. And I get that means there's still other people being taken ahead of him. But for an interior, run-stuffing defensive tackle to grade this high, I think the Lions have really struck gold with this kid. Maybe in time he gets more pass rush ability, but you watch him hold up the A and B gaps on the line. People don't run at him, and when they do, they regret it. Marcus Davenport, yes, I know we're all waiting to find out the official word on his shoulder, his elbow, or whatever it is, but let's also give credit where credit's due yesterday. He set the edge multiple times, deterred the running game, forced it back into help when he didn't make the plays, and there were a couple times he did get pressures. Him and Hutch collided a few different times. They got pressures. He got a sack. You know, for a guy you got peanuts invested to, I get we're gambling on him a whole lot. Yes, I get a lot of people are going to say we should have traded for this person who should have re-signed Zarius Smith. Can't change that, so I ain't going to worry about it. Here's what I know. He's on the team now. He had himself a game yesterday. Good for him. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines now. Man, we're going on this a little while, aren't we? Lions Week 2 injury updates. Marcus Davenport, Brian Branch, Detroit Lions on SI by Vito Chirito. Good news is it sounds like Brian Branch is going to be A-OK. We talked about, I heard reports that it was cramps. I heard reports that it was just him, hitting his leg on somebody else. He walked out the field, seems fine. Doesn't sound like it's going to be anything really egregious, so we're probably okay with that. Zane Zylstra, though, on the other hand, while is he an integral part of the offense? No, he does play a lot of special teams. He did get carted off the field for those who missed it after a special teams play. It would appear he's did a bit of an ankle injury. We'll have to wait and see and get official word probably today or tomorrow on his fate. And then the other one we've already talked about, Marcus Davenport. You guys know he rolled his ankle right before halftime, went out, came back, got a sack, and then landed awkwardly. It looked to me like maybe his elbow got jammed into his ribs and, hey, knocked the wind out of himself or something like that. It sounds like now it may be more of the shoulder, but my guess is if they didn't rule it a break already, that he probably just popped it a little bit and, maybe he'll be okay in a week or so. Maybe he'll even play next week. I don't know, but there's your injury updates as of right now. All right, top 2 takeaways from the 52-21 win over the Bears. The predictions, Miles Jordan with this one. Top 2 takeaways that we got for you. How about this? Jared Goff and the offense, they're firing on all cylinders. And it goes through, breaks down all the different stuff. We haven't even talked yet about Gibbs' game, Monty's game, Laporta's game. How about Jameson Williams? Jameson Williams averaging like 75,000 yards per reception. When that guy catches it, he's gone. And you guys watching the game know he nearly had another one. They were off by about 2 yards. Otherwise, he would have had another, 48 to 60-yard TD reception. Williams maybe doesn't catch 9 balls, 10 balls, or whatever currently in the offense, but when he catches it, he makes you pay. And I know we talked about in the live stream yesterday. I was real happy with them throwing that deep shot, even though it wasn't completed. Why? The more teams see that, the more teams have to fear it, the more they have to, game plan for it. You can't. In years with Ben Johnson, the one issue I had, and I thought the Bears and the Packers really took advantage of it during Ben Johnson's stay at times, they were so committed to the middle of the field, the short intermediate passes, that they would just leave a couple people almost like in quarterback spies, playing pseudo zone over there. It really caused some problems for the offense. Well, you do that too much. Now there's less help over the top. And the Lions yesterday, it wasn't just Jameson Williams. They were gunning that ball on deeper routes. Obviously, Goff completed nearly, when he completed the ball, it was about 12 yards a completion. That's, a first down every time, +2. So we get it. Jared Goff, this offense, man, they're firing on all cylinders after this game, and I think you're going to see this continue throughout the year. You are going to have to guard sideline to sideline and goal line to goal line with this offense because you know what? They can throw it all over the place. Defense and big plays keep the Bears off balance. I'd agree. First quarter, sort of like Green Bay. I didn't think the defense for the Detroit Lions was awesome. I didn't think it was overly aggressive. I thought it was actually pretty passive. And then the rest of the game happened. And as the game happened, it's almost like you could see the claws come out of the Lions more and more, and they ripped into the Bears. They got more aggressive. They sent some spy blitzes. Brian Branch a lot of times on that. They did things to generate pressure, not just with the front four. And what I like more is the second and third layers of the defense. They shifted coverages. They tried to make it harder and harder for Caleb Williams to identify when he gets out of that huddle and goes to the line of scrimmage. What are we in? What are they doing? What? Wait, they're switching. Now I got to switch the assignments. And you confuse a quarterback, especially younger, inexperienced quarterbacks. You're not going to have that next week. Lamar Jackson, he's 7-8 years in this league. He's seen most of that stuff. It will be harder to hide it. But you get a chance to put it on somebody who doesn't have that experience. I think you need to as a coach. And you know what? Even with a veteran, go after them until they prove that they can beat it. They can't beat it. Repeat the process. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get on over to the main topic of the day and talk about this win. Let's talk about what we've seen. And I want to hear from you guys. How are you feeling about the Detroit Lions this Monday versus last Monday? Let's get on over to main topic of the day. All right, Lions put up about 7,000 yards passing and rushing and everything else yesterday. All right, first question for you guys, main topic stuff. When you analyze 2 games in, what are your thoughts on the Lions offense? Hey, Green Bay didn't go our way. The Lions had some long drives. I want to say they had 2 9-minute-plus long drives. That's hard to do. I don't care what level of football you're at. That's hard to do. So when we play the Green Bay Packers again, what's more likely? The Lions offense improves or the Packers defense improves? Packers defense is looking pretty dang good. But just talking about the Lions for this part, I think the Lions offensive line should be noticeably better week to week. Doesn't mean they won't have mistakes, but when you analyze that offensive line, how often did Jared Goff really get pressured? And we're talking about a Chicago Bears defense, which came into the year pretty good. You look back the last 2 years, they were one of the better ones in the NFL, especially with the ability to get to the quarterback, athleticism on it. Did you even really notice them from the second quarter on? I don't know. I was anticipating a better game than that out of the Bears. I thought they would be able to slow us down a little bit more because of some of the things they could do and mimic what Green Bay did. Not so much there. So do you feel better or worse about the Lions offensive line? Do you feel good, bad, indifferent, or just over the top good about Jared Goff and all these wide receivers / offensive weapons for the Lions? You saw the play action pass really put the second layer of the Bears defense in a no-win situation. You've got to come up to stop Gibbs. You got to come up and stop Montgomery or Craig Reynolds or whoever else because the Lions can run the ball. Green Bay and the Bears early yesterday came in. They fired those lanes. They shut them down the holes for the Lions for the most part running. And because of that, though, the more you incorporated the play action pass, those guys come up. Now you can throw it just over the top behind them. And the Lions, John Morton, Jared Goff, everybody did that. Goff, here's one thing I'll throw at you guys. In the last 4 to 5 years, is there a more accurate quarterback in the NFL? We can all say he can't run. All right, great. He's a quarterback who can't really run. And that watching him run yesterday or trying to run yesterday, it's like watching something in slow motion. It's just not happening. Or watching a horror movie. The person trying to run away from the would-be assassin or killer, man, you see that person just catch up to him all the time. The Lions receivers, they got open. They got separation. They ran all sorts of routes. Tesla, don't even go into. Apparently, all he does is catch it fabulously one-handed. What are your thoughts about the Lions offense 2 games in the season? Now, let's flip the switch and talk about the defense. There's all sorts of pressure on this team to get home after the other quarterback with just their front four. They don't typically like to blitz. We saw mostly in the first quarter, Lions were being asked, sort of like past years, not to rush the quarterback, but to maintain the pocket and collapse it on the quarterback. I get Caleb Williams is a scrambler. He can move, even though I don't think that's what he primarily looks at. He can get out and run. Next week, Monday Night Football, you're going to see a guy who can get out and run. So are the Lions focusing in the first quarter yesterday just on collapsing the pocket? I thought so, and then as the game got more comfortable, now they're allowing the defensive line to go after it. If you think the Lions need to do something with that defensive line, let me know. And the other part of that question is, what do you do at this point of the year? I don't want to hear about, man, we should have done this and that because I can't change the past. I'm not Marty McFly, so let's not worry about it. But if you feel the Lions need to do something up front, how do you do it now? That's my question for you. Linebackers, what are your thoughts on them? Do you like the way they're playing? Let me know what your thoughts are. The secondary we talked about before this season happened. I thought this would be one of the most talented secondaries we've seen. And again, looking at the way they play, Terry Arnold had himself a bounce-back game yesterday. He probably really should have had 2 picks. Give the the offensive players who were playing defense some credit for busting them up. One of them was taken away from Brian Branch's penalty. But I thought what we heard about in training camp, what he was doing, how much he's grown. Yesterday, you saw it. Game 1, okay, I get it. You didn't see it. But game 2, you did. The defense overall last year, because of the injuries, it was kind of our Achilles heel. Do you feel that way right now? We've got a couple minutes till we got Johnny Gaz coming on. I see he's on deck warming up. Let's get to the Duke Crew, talk to you guys before we get him on air and try to get a few of you guys at least in before we get to the wise words of wisdom from Johnny Gaz. All right, JDC, morning all, back at you. Trey, what is good, everybody? Question mark. What a game yesterday. Haters still going to find a way to put the hate on us, but we beat the Bears any way possible. Yeah, they got to feel incredibly demoralized today. They need a day or 2 off. All right, now that was rip the fear off the Bears. Let's go pluck the feathers off the Ravens. I like the way you're thinking. Huggadoo. Good morning, Duke Crew. Guess Ben Overton shouldn't have been running his mouth. Yep, that was a beatdown. Grit did win. Exclamation point. I agree. Southwest. Good morning, all. Great win by the Lions yesterday. Which team will show up in Baltimore? I got to imagine you're going to see, I don't know if we'll beat anybody like we did yesterday, but we're probably going to play overall, both units, all 3 units, closer to what we saw yesterday. The coverage units were much better yesterday than they were in Green Bay. But you know what? Week 1 to 2, what do you want to see? You want to see improvement. So, Scots, I want to give credit to Ben Johnson for standing up for DC with reporters. They did try to make a story out of us going for a late in the game on 4th down. Ben got after the reporter. He did, and I do think he made the right reasons. I think he also didn't want to address it more than he had to. Art, Ben Johnson looked like a penny waiting for change. Okay, I'll go with that, Art. Jess, greetings, salutations. If I'm the Lions, I now don't need a win next week, but we do need a good showing. Ooh, I'll go with that. Can't get blown out. No, if you go into that game, and let's just say worst case scenario, you lose by a late second field goal. I think the national media and the Lions, from a psychological standpoint, can probably absorb that. So we'll see. Jason, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. I agree with that. Now you got the AFC North for the next 3 weeks. And you know what? I think I like our chances. Johnny L., how about that new player we have, Deion Branch? He's pretty solid. Yeah, I did see that Vilma kind of messed that up. But you know what? Hey, he was all over the place, Brian Branch. Southwest, I agree with Goff on skip Ben Johnson chance. Not cool. He did a lot of good things while he was here. I was initially PO'd that he went to Chicago, but thought Williams was a franchise quarterback. He did, man, and maybe Williams will be. Right now, I got to imagine there's probably some guessing on that over in Chicagoland. The other part of it is Ben Johnson knew it was coming. He was here when Matt Stafford came back. He saw what happened to Matt Stafford. I mean, when you leave this team, you are now the enemy. Steve Rogers, Mondays feel better with a win. Laughing out loud. I concur. Jason, Johnny L., I thought my hearing was going bad for a minute. That was funny. Art, to the victor belongs the spoils. I go with that. Silver Server, good morning, coach and everyone. And good to see you, Silver Server. Jedi Sith, I believe if we can add a good pass rush to the defense would be as special as the offense. Might be true. I just don't know if that will happen at this point. Okay, good morning, Johnny L. The Lions have built the kingdom of grit. Exclamation point. I concur. James, like I've been saying, the Lions should have kept Zadarius Smith. Marcus Davenport shouldn't have been released. All right, well, it is what it is at this point. Southwest Susan Scott, Ben Johnson showed a lot of class at that post-game interview. It's not easy when your team gets clobbered the way they were. Yes, anytime you lose as a coach, it can be emotionally difficult, same as a player. And now that you got to go and talk to the press afterwards, man, that's no fun zone. Tori, we needed that game and performance greatly. Proud of our boys. Exclamation point. I agree with that. Jason, how many highlight catches does it take to put Tesla at number 3? That's a great question. Look at James Allen. I totally agree. They should have signed Z, and they didn't. So questions why? I don't know. It would be a fair question to ask. Jessica, that's my team. Exclamation point. Go Lions. I concur. All right, guys, it's about that time to bring over our special guest of the day. He got up extra early and to come over and talk to the Duke Crew. Let's, without further ado, bring over our special guest. You all know him, you love him, Johnny Gaz Sports. It's a Victory Monday, Johnny. How's things over in New York?
Hey, brother. It's going good. It feels better this Monday than it did a week ago, so I'm feeling pretty good. And he got me in my work attire today, so I apologize. I got my monkey suit on, and we're going to go sell some senior living apartments here in just a little while. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate you, buddy.
Well, thank you for making some time on a Victory Monday. All right, let's get your initial thoughts. Looked at yesterday's game. I'm imagining you don't have many negative takes, but what are some of the good, the bad, and the differences of yesterday's contest?
I think the best thing we saw is the offensive line play, kind of round back into form. I mean, this offense can only run if the offensive line is stout. And if they can get the running game going and they start the play action game, and it seemed like that was the first drive of the day was, okay, we're going to establish the toughness up front. We're going to get our play action game going. And that kind of led to everything else that I think snowballed against the Bears. Once that all happened, the running game started to go. And everything fell in line. So I think to me, that was the best thing that I saw coming out of this. I'd say the worst thing, Dan, was probably the defensive line pressure. I still think leaves a little bit to desire here. They picked it up towards the end of the game, but I think a lot of that was due to the fact that Chicago had to pin their ears back and throw the football. They're down by 30 some odd points. So you're now just able to rush the quarterback. But even with that, I love that Aiden got his sack. That was great. I love that the defensive ends got all into it. But then we see Marcus Davenport suffer his inevitable injury. So now we're kind of left open-ended. Where is the defensive line? So there's still some questions there. So there was good on one side on the offense, and I think there's still some work to be done defensively on the defensive line.
With the defense line, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Davenport? Twice yesterday he went out with some sort of ailment. This team seems to have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I get if you were to ask, 99% of Lions fans would say one thing that concerns them is the pass rush. Is there anything the team can do at this point to address that situation?
Well, I think the idea of them going out to get a player is out the window. I was a proponent of still bringing Big Z in, but that just didn't happen. So now I think they're just in a point where they're going to have to rely on their depth pieces. I think the positive end of this is that El-Kadim Muhammad has put in now 2 solid weeks of play. So yes. I think they have a lot of faith in him. If for some reason Marcus Davenport just can't go, hopefully this injury that he suffered with the shoulder is more of a short-term thing and not a long-term deal, so they can work him back in, and it's not a situation where they're clearly down a player. But really, Dan, to answer your question, I think they're just going to rely on their depth. I think they like what they're getting out of Tyleik Williams and the interior there. So I think they'll just kind of rotate players on the opposite end there. They'll use Derek Barnes more maybe in that situation as an edge player. I think that's how they resolve this. Okay. All
right, let's go on to that offense line. I know you talked about it a little bit, but, trying to be as tempered expectation-wise to these guys as we can be. You watched their play yesterday. Where do you think they can go throughout the season as far as the 2 young guards? How much do you think they can grow and develop?
I think there's still a lot of room for growth. The one thing I like to, with the happiness of today's Monday, is still remember that to me, the Packers were a much more formidable defensive front than the Bears would present. So I just would temper the whole, okay, the offensive line is fixed, because I think there's still a lot of room left in the running game. I think they want to shore this up so that next week and beyond, they got some tough matchups coming up. Going Monday night to go to Baltimore and expect that this is going to continue to roll. They better hope the offense is still rolling, because they're going to need to score points. But yeah, buddy, I think they really need to just continue to get more reps. I think the more that they play together, the more we'll see this kind of gel. I'd love to say it's just a snap finger thing and that this week was the tipping point, but I just think it's going to take more time of them working together, the communication. That comes in time. So I think that's really going to be the next step, is increased communication, and we'll see sort of even more clean play out of that offensive line.
Let's talk about JG real quick, because there are some in the fan base think Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the league. There are others that say he's the 50th quarterback out of 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Now that he's on his third real, I guess you could say, fourth offensive coordinator, third named offensive coordinator, he had a bit of a showing yesterday. How good, in your expectations, is Jared Goff overall in the NFL?
I have him as a top 5, bud. I'm not going to put him in a top 3 or say that he's the best quarterback in the league. I would never go there. And the reason why is because I think Jared Goff, more than many other quarterbacks, is a and people are going to hate me for this, is a system guy to an extent of like he has to have certain things around him to be the elite player that he can be. We saw in week 1 the other side of Jared Goff, and it's not because he played terrible. It's because he didn't get the offensive line play. He wasn't able to distribute the ball the way that they did in week 2. And so many things stem off of that offensive line. If he doesn't get protection, if he doesn't have a clean pocket to step and throw into, he's a much less efficient quarterback. But when he does get a clean pocket and the running game is going, that's when he gets into that territory of top 5, top 3. And honestly, bud, when he gets the protection like he did yesterday, and truly he's able to step into throws and read through 1, 2, 3 progressions, he may be the best throwing quarterback in the NFL in that situation. I'm not saying overall, but in that particular situation. I mean, you saw him read through progressions yesterday. He was even able to use his legs within the pocket. And that's when I think you get the really good Jared Goff. He's not a scrambler. He's not a runner, but he's a smart enough guy to understand how to use his pocket presence and become the best quarterback that he can be. So you combine that with better O-line play, the play action, the running game. That's when you get one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's how the Lions will continue to win.
I don't know. Crazy Legs Goff averaged almost 2.5 yards a carry yesterday. I mean, he was out there motoring. All right, let's talk about the wide receivers, or let's just say the offensive weapons for Lions, because let's be fair, the tight ends played a big role yesterday. The running backs played a big role. You look at all the different weapons the Detroit Lions have. How do teams stop? So, 2 to 3 receivers that stand out. Brock Wright yesterday looked like a pretty good tight end. So let's just say 2 tight ends for the Lions. And then, of course, you got the two-headed monster at running back. How do you limit this group?
I think that's a scary part. And the one thing that I keep going back to is they haven't even opened up the Tesla thing, right? I mean, they just keep giving him a couple opportunities here and there, and he keeps making miraculous catches, which is great. And we love seeing that. But I think a lot of people now want to say, okay, where is he on the regular? And why aren't we working him in? Well, I think that answers your question, Dan, is like they have so many options that they don't have to rush Tesla in or force balls to him. So that tells you everything you need to know about the Lions offense. If the offensive line play is there, Jared Goff becomes the better quarterback, and then they can utilize any weapon they want in the field. I mean, they really have barely tapped into Jamison Williams. He had 2 catches for over 100 yards. I mean, imagine if they're getting him 8, 10 catches in a game. So that's the greatest thing about this Lions offense is I think they're unselfish enough to know that, okay, yesterday was Amon-Ra's day. Yesterday was the running back's day. Next week could be J-Mo's day, so on and so forth. And Tesla will work their way in. So that, Dan, tells me everything I need to know about the Lions offense right now. And to me, it's all about what they do up front.
All right, Brian Branch, I was talking about it, and some will agree, some will disagree. I thought in Green Bay, and then yesterday, he looked like one of the best defensive players in the league. When you look at him, I get a lot of us talk about Kirby Joseph. He picks off passes all the time. Aiden Hutchinson last year was in the year before just on a monster tear for sacks. Yesterday he got one. But when you analyze Brian Branch, how good is he?
I love watching him play. I mean, and you take all the good with that pure aggression that he plays with, and sometimes that leans in an area where you get the flags every once in a while. But I'll take that every time because he's next level strong safety. I mean, he does everything for you. Not only can he play a back end role as far as just pure safety, but he'll come up and tackle. He'll blitz. We saw him yesterday force a fumble, 2 tackles for loss, 6 tackles. He was all over the field. Let's hope that this was just a cramp. That's what I'm hearing. So nothing serious there. Whenever you see him sitting on the field, that got me more scared than even the Davenport injury because I think he means so much more to this Lions defense, even than, let's say, the opposite edge. He's a Swiss Army knife for this defense. He can do it all, and that would be a big loss if for some reason he can't play next week. I think that's how much he means to this Lions defense.
Let's flip the script real quick, and not in a disrespectful way, but when you look at the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson, boy, you let one slip away against the Vikings week 1, and then you come into Ford Field, and you don't just get beat, you get destroyed. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams right now, what do you do to try to swing things around?
Gosh, that's a tough situation. I feel bad for Ben Johnson to a certain extent because I just don't know if they have enough talent on their offensive line too. It's like the Lions. I mean, they did a lot to revamp their offensive line this offseason. They brought in Jonah Jackson. They brought in Dahl from Atlanta. So they did a lot of things to try and shore up the front because Caleb Williams seems to be running for his life more often than not. It seemed to lessen a little bit in the Vikings game last week, and I didn't think the Lions' pressure was overwhelming yesterday, but it was enough, and the offense overwhelmed them to where they had to change their scheme. And I think that's the deal. Can the Bears defense keep them in enough games to where the Ben Johnson offense even is a factor? And that's maybe a scary part. Can they protect the quarterback? Can they get after the quarterback? I see in the comments, it's all about the trenches. That's the truth. I mean, that's the NFL. If you can't control the trenches, a lot of bad things happen. And I think that's where the Bears are kind of building. I think Ben Johnson's thought was, okay, I need to revamp the offensive line. It's just not there yet. But if they can get it there, I think you'll see a lot of better things out of their offense. And the same thing on the opposite end. If they can stop the run, they got decent pass rushers. I think some good things will happen, but they were limited in their defensive back play. Jalen Johnson had just returned yesterday. He had been out week 1. So I just think there's a lot of moving pieces. I guess that's how I'd answer your question, Dan. There's so many moving parts to the Chicago system right now. Nothing is consistent or continuous to where that they can take off and run, but check back in on them in week 13, 14, 15. I think some things will start to gel. I wouldn't say they're a lost cause. I think some things could come together if they can shore up both their offensive and defensive lines.
Lions got, this year more than probably the last 2 or so years, they've got some rookies actually out there playing. So Ratledge, Williams, etc., Tesla to a certain degree. When you look at these rookies that the Lions have on board, what are you seeing so far 2 weeks in?
I really like what I'm seeing out of Tyleik Williams. I think, we knew coming out of Ohio State that he wasn't a pass rushing defensive tackle necessarily, at least the way he was used. So you're seeing kind of the very positive end of Tyleik Williams is he's a run stuffer, and he got his hands on a couple balls yesterday that affected the play. So you don't necessarily have to always sack the quarterback or be in the backfield to affect what you're doing on the defensive line. So I really like what I'm seeing out of him. And I think Tesla, I mean, it's hard to ignore the few plays that he's made. I mean, it's your first 2 catches in the NFL are 2 of the best catches we'll see all year in its entirety. It's just incredible. So to me, I think they're ahead of schedule in that sense. I'm sure they love to feel like they hit the ground running week 1 with Tate Ratledge in the offensive line, but I just think that's not something you just flip over. I don't think you lose Frank Ragnow and put in 2 young guards and just expect things to just happen. And that's the struggle you saw in week 1 against a very good Green Bay Packers team, and that held true in week 2. So it wasn't just a flukish performance in week 1. I think there were some real big things playing against the Lions continuity wise. And I think the Packers are starting to come together as one of the better teams in the NFL. And that's where we're at.
Last thing I got for you, then I know you got to get going for work and everything. Next week, Monday Night Football, if the Lions can go in and get this win against Baltimore, man, the Lions fan base feels good right now. I got to imagine at 2-1 with Cleveland coming to town, you're feeling real good. What do they need to do to get a win in a less than ideal situation in Baltimore?
Yep. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Monday night's going to be one heck of an atmosphere. I mean, the first thing is contain the quarterback. I mean, that's when you play Lamar Jackson, you have to settle him into a point where you make him a pocket passer. I think that's the best way to defend against him. When he's able to get out of the pocket, make plays, not only with his legs, but then throw out of it when he's able to get out of pressure. And that's the thing the Lions have struggled with. So they're going to have to be stout up front in the interior. The edges have to set the edge. I mean, those are obvious things, but against a running quarterback like Lamar, it's more important. They also run the football very, very well. So the Lions will have to continue their run defense, which has been pretty good, a little better against Green Bay than it was against Chicago, but that's going to be huge to control the offense. And then on the other side, I think, again, it's all about their offensive line play. If they can protect and run the football, everything else works from there. I think that's the way they can get at the Ravens is through their run game, the play action game. And that's how they get them. To me, that's how you win this football game. They have to be stout up front. They have to contain Lamar Jackson.
All right. Here's Johnny Gaz, the host of Johnny Gaz Sports. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody about yourself, where they can support you and your great content.
I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you and the Do Crew always, every morning. At Johnny Gas Sports, every one of your socials. If you search at Johnny Gas Sports, you will find fun, free Detroit Lions content. On YouTube, we're doing game previews. We have the Why series telling you why either the Lions won or lost the game. I have the 3-minute drill pretty much every day with updated Lions content. So come and see me if you guys are excited about the Week 2 win and getting ready for Baltimore. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, you have a great day, and thanks for making a little time out of your day to be a part of the Duke Crew.
Appreciate you, man. Take it easy, guys.
We'll see you now. All right, let's get back to the Duke Crew comments section. Let's see. Jason, Brian Branch for MVP. Might just be Kurt, Roy Kent, exclamation point. Oops, I had Ted Lasso flashback too, Bill. I got to love Ted Lasso, and Roy Kent is a favorite of mine. Thomas, I don't feel the fact that Hutch, they keep it in there when he had totally gassed. That was, let's just say that's not intelligent. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know we were talking about the live cast. Get him out, especially in the fourth quarter. The game was pretty secured. You already had one scare. Let's not make it two. King, that's Goff's vertical leap needs some help. Yeah, him trying to get into the stands there to join St. Brown's didn't go quite so well. Felt bad for that little kid trapped under him. James, downtown tailgating yesterday, it was the Man House. I bet it was, and it will be probably the next one too. Good to see you, my friend. One Pride looks like Branch is getting fined for that stupid face mask call. It happens, man. I mean, we'll see how bad it is. Okay, that was funny, Mary. I felt like he needed a big push. Probably did need a big push. Bill, Kirby ball snatcher, he is indeed. Coach Rock, Mary, hope you took shot of that bug off and you up to your grit self. There we go. Michael, I'm sure the Lions secondary won't be as absent in the next game. Exclamation point, probably not. Kurt Steele, Waymo 100 yards on 2 catches. Wow, yeah, he catches it, he's gone. Let's be honest. He was in about a slight overthrow or underrun. I don't know how you order of having even more. Coach Rock, what up, Bill? Kurt? I'm glad to hear from you this morning. There you go, Cynthia. For a moment, I was concerned about Tesla. He got a knee hit after that touchdown attempt. Yeah, apparently he's okay. Kurt, Coach Rock, thanks for doing better. Megan, I thought Devin Hurt was going to tap out in yesterday's game. Hope he isn't a matter of time. He's hoping he plays nearly a full season. I think he is won't play the entire season. Let's hope he does play it. Like Jared Jones, grit. James Allen, Hutch has a phenomenal game yesterday. Caleb Williams couldn't get comfortable and in and out of the pocket. There you go. Yes, we got, as the game went on, especially got to the second quarter, we started getting more and more pressure on him. Thomas, let's remember, exclamation point, great win. A little concerned about the D, but we'll be playing a real NFL team next week. Better bust out the grit. There we go. Kings up. Goff needs a tush push to get up the wall. Yeah, his vertical is in question. Jacob, the Sun God, more heart than any player on the team. He catches blocks and comes up clutch in the game. He does indeed. Cynthia, CBS gave Detroit a lot of love. They should, man. We put down one heck of a win yesterday. Eon Saint has that Hines Ward in him, and I love it. I agree with that fully. Thomas, just like catch, change the game, exclamation point. And absolutely incredible. You know, we were talking about in the live cast, you can see they went to a Tampa 2. They were going to give you up the sidelines, and as soon as Goff hiked it, he looked off ball, then he came back. He knew where he was going probably before he even snapped the ball. Free for all, I thought for sure Ben Johnson would pull out some kind of gadget plays. He had a few, but none of them really seemed to do much. So, is what it is. Kurt Steele, the Lions went BTA on the Bears. Yes, they did. All right, you got 12 minutes left. Let's see, Mary. Thanks, Rock. It was raining so hard Saturday that my body just can't handle that. I'm taking it easy this morning. Lots of cold medicine. Get better, Mary. Kurt Steele, Mary, feel better? Exclamation point. I'm done with that. Joseph Danport's bull rush is very impressive. Yeah, him and Hutchinson, I thought, did that very early yesterday. It almost felt like they were being asked or coached to do that intentionally, to collapse the pocket. Maybe we'll find out next week if they repeat the process. James Isaac Tesla is one heck of a good player. He had 2 one-hand catches in 2 games. Yes, all he does is catch it one-handed. Vincent E., we still need D-line help. We could have some debates about that. Benjamin, where are you getting all the negative commentary from? Personally, I haven't seen that many. There's been some after the Green Bay game, for sure, Benjamin. Amazing. How many catches did J-Mo have? I want to say 2. Don't hold me to that, but that sounds right. Mary Smith, Professor Steele, thank you. Version of the means. I think Williams also batted 2 balls. 1 and a 4th down pass. Wait until Aleem is back. Woo! Man, I got a question for you guys. We all know Aleem's dropped some weight, to help with the knee injury. Could it be they roll out Tyleek, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, and Hutch as your starting defensive line? I could see that. Thomas, y'all know cramps, no excuse. Keep hydrated. Stay hydrated. Drink your Mountain Dew. Hookadoo, Mary, did the doctor say take 2 pills of grit and call me in the morning? Glad you're feeling better, little lady. There you go. Pierce, Grit Steel, full BTA. One of my friends asked me if we went 1-1 to start, which game mattered more? This one. It could be the Lions felt that way too. Amy, happy 100th birthday for Mrs. Martha Ford. There you go. The Rebel, good morning. Coach Dan and the Drew and back at you. Free for all. Who else's heart sank when St. Brown grabbed his leg faking that injury? I did too when I was doing the commentary, man. I was like, oh, man, what happened there? Bruce Bear, congrats on the win. Skip Tampa Bay. I'm sick of these. All right, we'll go with that. Johnny, what a difference a week makes. Let's go to Baltimore and for a big road win. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. Thomas, Davenport must play next week. I agree with you. Big Belly Lou, my concern with the offensive line and the fix that problem. So they let's see what they're looking for going forward. Good win for the Detroit Lions. It was, man. The offensive line looked noticeably better. It's not that they were perfect by any means, but to your point, week 1 to week 2, what do you want to see as a coach? You want to see improvement. That's what we got. The Rebel, like I said, will be fine. I like the way you said it. Bill, was really nice to see the short crossing routes in heavy rotation again. Yes, indeed, with that, 1,000%. One Pride, the score, we scored higher than any team yesterday. That's noteworthy in my book. I agree with your book. Crit Steel, hey there. Broski Bear, how about them trenches? We'll find out. Hookadoo, glad you made it in. Broski Bear, good morning. DM5, great win, but the Bears are not the Ravens. Time to strap on the boots. Yes, let's see how we do against them. Silver Server, Tug Speedman, Broski, your Halloween cheap costume doesn't work here. Again, it's adults here. You enjoying provoking, and that's all right. But what kind of twisted way to interact is that? We'll find out. Broski Bear, never doubt our boys. We did not doubt the boys. Good call there, Mary. Broski Bear could steal trenches, linebacker, secondary, wide receivers, running backs. Everything was not good. Oh, and Caleb Williams is not doing well. You know, one thing I'll say for Caleb Williams, you've gone through what, 2, you could say 3 offensive coordinators in 2 years. That's tough on any quarterback, let alone a young, inexperienced quarterback. Version of the mean, we also never mentioned Brock Wright, a silent threat in the red zone. He had a great game yesterday. Good for that man. Good for him. Jacob Gold Lions, long day yesterday. Took a lot out of me. I'm going back to bed. Go get some rest, my friend. Tug Speedman is not happy. The Rebel. And we're ready for Green Bay next time we meet. I think we will. Jason, sorry, broski. Tough game. It was for any Bears fan. One Pride, don't lose hope, broski. Rebuilds can be painful. They can be. Let's just hope you never win against the Lions, though. That's just my personal thing. JDC, sit high in the saddle, fellow Lions Talk Livers. I like it. Tiller the Hun, DM5, that last Chicago TD was garbage time TD. Yeah, it happens, man. Robert, I'm a Ross celebrations next level. Indeed. The Bill Ball, what do you got? The Ravens are our measuring stick. They have owned us. They have. Now, what can we do against that stick? Kurt Steele, Broski Bear, honestly, I didn't see a 50 piece coming. Me neither, man. And again, I think if we wanted to, we could have put up 60 or more. Wait, I love how intense Kelvin Shepard is. He's a great coach. Yeah, and when I see that, that's reminds me of me coaching. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I personally prefer that kind of stuff. James, in the 2026 NFL Draft, we need to find a center first and foremost, then a guard. Could be that. We'll see what ends up shaking out. The Rebel, yes, sir, exclamation point. Defense starting to come together. I agree. Pierce, James Allen, stand by an edge or at or near the top of that list. We'll throw an edge up there. Coach Rock didn't care for the St. Brown TD celebration after last year. We don't need that. Might be true. Broski Bear, Kurt Steele, when your team has no heart and a broken locker room. Yeah, you guys have got a lot of emotional stuff to overcome, and yesterday won't help it. Dre Day, Broski, Caleb is not garbage. He has the best nails in the game. Doug Spearman, Coach Dan knows who the adults are. Cynthia, great to see Anzone, Wright, Raymond giving notice. Exclamation point. The Lions played strong and united. Woo! I'm down with that. Thomas, I was concerned about her. Oh, yes, we needed that. I would need to be consistent. We will be the real game next week. O-line played much better. Yes, they did, without a shadow of a question of a doubt. Barry Smith, yep. Caleb Shep, Coach Shep, congratulations. Was awesome. He showed celebrations were awesome. He showed us the coaches can celebrate and love it too. Yeah, I want people to coach with passion, play with passion, etc. Amazing. Green Bay will lose 3 or 4. Let's think so. Let's see, Coach Donnie K, hey, Coach and New Crew, exclamation point. I'm a happy fan this morning. I gotta imagine there's a whole lot of that there. All right, we got 5 minutes left. I'm gonna power through the chat and get some people who haven't been on as much. James Pierce Sargent, that's true. Dre Day in both Pierce. All right. Angie, it was in the booth. It was in booth. All right. Mary Smith, Cynthia, yes, and good morning, Queen Hoogadoo. He stayed in the booth. He did. Yeah, it's where he wants to be. 100%. John Morton wants to be up there. Big M, skip the forwards. Can't give a moment of silence to Troop. Yep. We're not doing that. Let's see. Blind Tom, very few dumb penalties. Yeah, there were not many penalties. Dre Day, I feel the Lions have the same defensive plan, works well, limiting Caleb's running, might be good for Lamar. Yeah, I do wonder if they'll see something similar there. James, I give Shep 2 years in Detroit before the Miami Dolphins come calling for a new head coach. Hey, if you have success, we all get it. Somebody's going to come and try to get you. Let's see, Big M, skip you. All right, Kurt Steele. Lions are still bad in zone coverage. Yeah, you can tell they haven't played it in a while, and, hey, it might take some time, if that ever. Angie, laughing out loud, DM5, reversion to the mean. Ratledge rebounded well, a few errors, but blocked well all game and found work when it wasn't there. Yes, and, like most rookies, it's going to be a process to get them there. Melissa and Fisher, what a way to bounce back. Exclamation point. Continue to trust the process. We will trust in the process, won't we? Let's see, until the... Coach, is there any truth that Tesla's left hand is holding out since he always makes one-handed catches? Could be, man. Maybe he's got one of those rare disorders where one hand doesn't cooperate with the other. I don't know, man. I'm just messing around. Kerry, Broski, how's those trenches? We'll find out. Amazing. A win is important, but must score 28. We'll take that. Server, Tux me and Broski, your character, different users are so funny. It was really difficult. It's this like you or what you write. Bury the axe, how about that? And get on with it. Still don't like that choking Hulk, all right? Blind Tom, Minnesota Vikings looked real bad last night. They got caught off guard. You can see where the pressure from Atlanta, got to JJ quite a bit. I didn't watch the full game. I watched about until halftime. Let's see, Kurt Steele, Blind Tom, the Falcons D was swarming JJ. They were. And again, young, inexperienced quarterbacks, take advantage of them. Big Belly U, I think the Detroit Lions are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go Detroit. I like the way you're thinking. James, the side where I was sitting, everyone was saying skip Ben Johnson. Yes, they were probably skipping all over Ben Johnson. JDC, born and bred to rip and shred. Go Lions. I'll take that. Derek, that pulled hammy gag on St. Brown. Pulley had me reaching for my nitro pill. Let's hope that you're okay, my friend. The role of Ben Johnson knew what could happen. Exclamation point. He's seen what this offense can do firsthand. Yes, he has. He's seen a lot of it. Boo. Thought Muhammad did really well for filling in for Denver. Yeah, I think 2 weeks in a row, that kid's played all right. Ken, did anyone catch Danport's interview in the locker room after the game? Question mark. If so, what are your thoughts? I did not catch it, to be fair. Once I was done with the post-game show after having been on air for like 5 hours, I was good to take a little break. Jimmy just thought of something. McNeil gets back. We could run 3 defensive tackles and really stop the run. Hutch, McNeil, Reader, and Tyreek on the line. I'd be okay with that, to be honest, especially if you move McNeil to the big end, because I think he can get to the quarterback as well. And if you're going to preach collapsing the pocket, not rushing the quarterback, I think he would do well there. Mary, don't forget about Tate. He did better yesterday, too. He did indeed. DM5, the Rebel, after yesterday, I'm not so sure. He just finds a way to get injured. You really think he's going to last 15 more games? We'll find out, man. I'm hoping so. Drink that Mountain Dew, my friend. Just, I'm rooting for Davenport. Some may not be. I agree with that. Lions' greatest hits. Gaz, the Gaz was here, indeed. Good to see you, my friend. Feels like it's been a minute since we've seen your greatest hits. Coach Rock, good to see you, Miles Meyer. Bring the grit. He does do that, doesn't he? Free for all. He was laying face down on the ground, and play was still going. That he didn't even try to get up. That's why I thought he was hurt. I'll go with that. Yeah. DM5, does Davenport last more for 15 more games? We'll find out. Only one way to know. Silent service. Another person I haven't seen in a hot second. The players put Goff in the top 20. Yeah. No doubt about it. You don't do it by yourself, for sure. Great day. FYI, Johnny Green Bay game, he was almost 70% accurate. Correct with that. He's becoming an incredibly accurate quarterback. Rock, free for all. Thought the same thing. All right, the Rebel. I'm trying to get people who haven't been on as much, and we got 2 minutes left. The Rebel, I agree. Exclamation point. I think we can be even better still. Yeah, we'll keep improving. Crazy Legs Goff actually looking better and looping away a bit from trouble. I agree with that, Miles Murray. He does look like he's put some work in there. Let's see, Mary Smith, Lions Talk Live. We were off in the points. Never imagined a blowout. Go Lions. Well, I don't think anybody predicted that. Don Kong, we're back, baby! Exclamation point. I know you got to be happy about that. Dre Day, 6-11, still coming. Don Kong, ooh, inquiring minds want to know. Steve, Khalif Raymond is a good football player. Also, agreed. I don't mind him at all. Dre Day, top 5 pick. Let's hope not. And not unless we trade for a top 5 pick. Amazing. Lions on paper, number 1 on offense. Ooh, could be. We did look pretty impressive yesterday. The Rebel, Branch will be fine. Yeah, I didn't think it was anything big. Hopefully that is confirmed. Vern, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Coach, we still got bear meat left. We ran out of hot sauce. Well, I can't eat it without the hot sauce, man. I'll have to run to the store and get some. Amazing. I really want that quarterback out of Michigan from what I've seen. Hey, I know my brother Tim really likes him. He's a U of M fan. Was talking to me about it, I want to say Saturday. And I just said, hey, let's temper some expectations. It was Central Michigan University. And no disrespect to the Chippewas or anything, but let's see how he's 18. He's played, 3 college games. Let's see, keep the expectations down until we get maybe to the end of the year. But he's got a whole lot of promise in him. Burns, Tesla will have the best first 2 catches in NFL history. That might be accurate, man. I don't know if anybody's done what he's done. All right, see, Southwest. What quarterback isn't negatively impacted by having less than a good offensive line? That is a great comment right there, because I get tired of people saying, man, if you pressure Goff up the middle, I don't care who you are as a quarterback. If you got guys coming immediately in your face up the middle, it's going to impact you. Anymore, hold on. As a Lion, Goff hasn't lost to Mahomes. This is also accurate. They're all very true. Cynthia, Southwest Lion, very good point. Big Belly Lou, it was nice to see Wingo out there, and I thought he played well. Playing, let's hope he can get back in football shape, because he's going to be a problem for other teams. Yeah, and I like the fact they moved him around. He generated some pressure. Hey, Corey Mills, that offensive line played noticeably better, much better communication. Corey the Hitman Hills, former college roommate of mine. Great guy, by the way. Let's see, James, we had 2 big burgers this past weekend. Michigan with 63-3, and now the Lions 53-21. I'll go with that. Kerry, we'll see Green Bay team at home with McNeil. Yes, we will. Southwest, the Ravens are a tough matchup for anybody. They're athletic, and they have to be kicking themselves for losing that Buffalo game. I get it. But you know what? They're 1-1. You're 1-1. Let's keep moving forward. Bo, contain, exclamation point with rotation. Joseph, good day, Johnny. Big Belly U. Testa is going to be a problem for opposing teams going forward. I agree with that. He's going to bring a big thing to the offense. Lauren, I'm a bit late. I'm here. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Hassani Madley, good morning, my friend, Coach Dan, and the Duke crew, and fans watching Lions Talk Live. Great game. Of course, the monster beat up of student Ben Johnson. Big time. Haha, go Lions. And yes, we can't wait to see your son back on the field. Amy's rated 430 in the viewing, only 99 likes. Come on, Duke crew, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let's see, Silver Sir, Hassani Madley, good day, sir. It's probably a good afternoon in Cairo. David Z played a good game yesterday. Too bad Cheapo didn't sign him. It is what it is, man. Ain't worrying about the past at this point. Miles Marger, I'm a raw celebration, fake injury, about to give me a heart attack. Yeah, I know a lot of people felt the same way. Gary, hey, broski, how's your trenches doing? Fire 28, glad to see J Mo involved. 2 catches, 108 yards, and a score. There you are not wrong there. Just a Mountain Dew for cramps. Hey, I drink Mountain Dew for everything. It has electrolytes. It might. It's got a lot of stuff that I enjoy. Burns, 2 catches for 108 yards, I believe. It's right around there for sure. Anymore, put the time in the coconut and call me in the morning. We'll call you in the morning, my friend. Cynthia Thomas, a little speed reader either. I do what I can to read fast. Phil, thanks for the fun play-by-play, Coach. Hey, I enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Thomas, Cynthia, yeah, right. Miles Marker, notes all the previous years of talk about Goff not being able to throw for far ahead this period. I thought he did a pretty good job with it yesterday. Dan, the Honey Badger Thornton, thank you for that. Dominic, good morning from Texas. Happy post-birthday, my friend. Hopefully you had a great birthday, and Lions made it even greater for you. Terry, happy trails. Have a great Monday, everyone. Go Lions. Woo! We'll see you next time. Kurt Steele, see you guys on the Boss Up Ball Out channel at 8. We'll see you there. Brian, what a way to improve from first game. Great job, JG. Yes, he did indeed. JDC, happy trails. Go Lions victory. We'll see you next time. Boo-boo. Happy trails, Duke crew. All done and dusted for another day. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Mary Smith, everyone have a blessed and safe day. See you in the morning. Feel better, Mary. Victoria Brown scared everyone on that hamstring scared. Yes, he did indeed. No doubt about that. DM5, as of now, the division looks like us and Green Bay. Probably a lot of truth there. Cynthia, I want to give a big shout out to our coaches, coordinators, and staff. You just did. Phil, week 3 already. The season goes fast. It does. Great Lakes, the rookies being able to hear each other and communicate on the offensive line probably helped tremendously. I agree with that. Couldn't have said that any better. They could have let Terrion Arnold have his first interception. They could have. Unfortunately, they got a little flag happy. Derek, to Benedict credit, and handled his post-game presser with some class. Yeah, I thought he did a real nice job with it. Brian, I agree. There you go. Lauren, Lions, what do you got? What a beatdown it was. Exclamation rate, great game. Go Lions, one pride worldwide, restore the reward. I think at least for a week it has been restored. Great Lakes guy laughing out loud, says Brian. Let's see a few more here. Famous RW, Ravens don't have a good run defense. Let's run all over them. James, happy trails, my friend. We'll see you next time. Miles Marker, laughing out loud, hey more, and drink it all up. Coach Rock, that's true, Miles Marker. All right, guys, I'll get out of here, get you on your day. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care, enjoy your day, do something kind for someone you don't know, be a good human being. And you know what? If there's breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Catch you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.